Marcus Chun had been working the asteroid mining station Kepler-7 for 3 years without speaking a single word to another living being. The other miners called him Ghost, though never to his face. They whispered about the tall, lean human who moved through the corridors like smoke, completing his shifts with mechanical precision while avoiding all social contact. The Galactic Mining Consortium had placed humans in the most dangerous positions throughout the Outer Rim. Officially, it was because humans showed remarkable adaptability to hostile environments. Unofficially, everyone knew it was because human lives were considered expendable by the alien-dominated corporate structure. Marcus had learned this truth the hard way during his first week, when he watched a Zellan supervisor send his human crew into a methane pocket without proper atmospheric sensors. Only Marcus had survived. Now he worked alone, by choice and by reputation. The other species on the station had learned to give him wide berth. The blue-skinned Tellarians whispered that he brought bad luck. The insectoid Kreks clicked their mandibles nervously when he passed. Even a normally aggressive Vorthak, Mercs avoided his section of the station. Marcus preferred it that way. Silence had become his armor, isolation his weapon against a universe that seemed determined to grind humanity into dust. The mining station itself was a testament to alien engineering priorities. The Zellan design facility prioritized efficiency over comfort, with narrow corridors that forced smaller species into single file and atmospheric recycling systems calibrated for methane-breathing inhabitants. Humans required supplemental oxygen masks in most sections, another reminder of their status as afterthoughts in galactic civilization. Kepler-7 orbited a dying star system, harvesting rare metals from asteroid belts that had once been planets. The work was dangerous, requiring miners to venture into unstable gravitational fields where a single miscalculation could send an extraction vessel tumbling into the star's gravity well. Human reflexes and intuition made them surprisingly effective at this work, though few survived long enough to develop real expertise. Marcus had not only survived, but excelled. His extraction records exceeded those of veteran alien miners, despite having access to inferior equipment. The human shuttles were older models with failing navigation systems and inadequate shielding. The cutting tools were designed for Kreks manipulator appendages, requiring Marcus to jury-rig human-friendly controls. His atmospheric suits were patched hand-me-downs that leaked at the joints. None of this stopped him from consistently bringing in the largest hauls of refined metals. He had developed an almost supernatural sense for asteroid composition, able to identify valuable deposits by the subtle gravitational variations they created. Other miners relied on expensive scanning equipment that often malfunctioned in the intense radiation fields. Marcus trusted his instincts, reading the cosmic environment like an ancient sailor reading wind and tide. The extraction process itself was both art and science. Each asteroid required a different approach, depending on its rotation, composition, and structural integrity. Heavy metals usually congregated in the core, requiring careful drilling to avoid collapse. Rare earth elements often formed veins along fracture lines, demanding surgical precision to extract without contamination. Marcus had mastered techniques that alien miners found impossible to replicate. Where they relied on brute force drilling, he used shaped charges to fracture asteroids along natural stress points. Where they employed massive harvesting equipment, he used precision tools to extract pure samples worth 10 times the value of bulk ore. His methods were unconventional by consortium standards, but they produced results that spoke louder than corporate protocols. The other humans on the station watched Marcus with a mixture of awe and resentment. His success highlighted their own struggles, making them appear incompetent by comparison. Some whispered that he had made deals with alien supervisors, trading information about human weaknesses for better equipment assignments. Others claimed he was simply lucky, bound to die in a spectacular accident like so many human miners before him. Marcus knew the truth was simpler and more dangerous. He had stopped caring about survival in the conventional sense. When fear of death no longer constrained his decisions, he could take risks that rational beings avoided. He flew closer to gravitational anomalies, ventured into radiation fields that would kill most species, and worked with equipment that was one malfunction away from catastrophic failure. This recklessness had an unexpected side effect. It made him extraordinarily effective. While other miners retreated from dangerous situations, Marcus pressed forward. He had learned to read the subtle signs that preceded equipment failure, to feel the gravitational currents that warned of asteroid instability, to sense the electromagnetic fluctuations that indicated rare metal deposits. His quarters reflected his solitary existence. The small hapod contained only essential items: a sleeping mat, a water recycler, basic meal preparations, and a collection of improvised tools he had crafted from salvage materials. No personal decorations, no entertainment systems, no communication devices. He had disconnected his room's intercom system years ago, preferring the silence that reminded him daily of his chosen path. The workday began at 0600 station time, when the artificial gravity generators cycled up to full power. Marcus would check his equipment methodically, testing each system twice before venturing into the asteroid fields. His shuttle was ancient by consortium standards, a human-manufactured vessel that predated the current alien safety regulations. It lacked the automated systems that newer ships relied on, requiring manual control for navigation and environmental systems. This limitation had become Marcus's greatest advantage. While alien pilots struggled with equipment failures, he had learned to fly by instinct and experience. He could nurse a failing engine back to operational status, reroute power from damaged systems, and navigate through debris fields that would challenge computer-assisted vessels. The morning extraction run typically took Marcus to the outer asteroid belt, where gravitational instability created both danger and opportunity. The larger mining corporations avoided these areas, considering the risk-to-reward ratio unacceptable. For a solitary human miner with nothing to lose, they represented untapped wealth waiting to be claimed. Today's target was a metallic asteroid designated KX 447, a tumbling mass of iron and rare earth elements that had broken free from the main belt. Its erratic rotation made approach difficult, while its high nickel content interfered with standard navigation equipment. Corporate mining doctrine classified such asteroids as too dangerous for solo extraction. Marcus began his approach at maximum distance, using visual navigation to track the asteroid's rotation. The surface showed signs of recent impacts, suggesting internal fractures that could be exploited. Spectral analysis revealed promising concentrations of platinum and titanium, metals that commanded premium prices in the inner systems. The extraction process required perfect timing. Marcus waited until the asteroid's rotation brought the target area into optimal position, then fired grappling hooks into the surface rock. The impact sent vibrations through the asteroid structure, revealing the internal stress patterns that would guide his drilling strategy. Working quickly, he deployed shaped charges along calculated fracture lines. The explosions needed to crack the asteroid's shell without damaging the valuable core materials. Too little force would require multiple attempts, increasing exposure to radiation and gravitational hazards. Too much force would shatter the entire asteroid, scattering debris across the local area. The charges detonated in perfect sequence, splitting the asteroid into manageable sections. Marcus guided his shuttle through the expanding debris field, using magnetic grapples to secure the most valuable fragments. His cargo hold quickly filled with high-grade, or that would earn more in one day than most miners collected in a week. As he prepared to return to the station, Marcus detected an anomaly in his sensor readings. A faint energy signature was emanating from one of the asteroid fragments, unlike anything in the consortium databases. The signal was artificial, clearly the product of advanced technology, but its patterns were completely unfamiliar. Standard protocol required reporting such discoveries to Station Command, where alien supervisors would confiscate any unusual findings for corporate analysis. Marcus had seen this happen before, watching human miners lose valuable discoveries to bureaucratic seizure. The alien-dominated power structure ensured that humans received minimal compensation for such finds, regardless of their potential value. Instead, Marcus carefully extracted the source of the signal, a crystalline object about the size of his fist, embedded deep within the asteroid's core. The crystal pulsed with internal light, cycling through colors that had no names in any language he knew. When he touched it with his gloved hand, the pulsing intensified, as if responding to his presence. The return journey to Kepler 7 gave Marcus time to consider his options. The crystal represented either a valuable discovery or a dangerous unknown. Corporate protocols demanded immediate surrender to alien authorities, but Marcus had learned not to trust systems designed to exploit human labor. His instincts suggested this discovery was too important to hand over to beings who considered humans expendable. He concealed the crystal within his personal effects, smuggling it past the automated scanners that monitored returning miners. The alien security systems were calibrated to detect standard contraband, weapons, drugs, valuable metals. They were not designed to identify artifacts of unknown origin, particularly those that seemed to respond to human contact. That night, alone in his quarters, Marcus examined the crystal more closely. Away from the electromagnetic interference of the asteroid fields, its behavior became more pronounced. The internal light patterns seemed almost communicative, pulsing in complex sequences that suggested intelligence rather than random energy discharge. When he held the crystal directly, without the barrier of his work gloves, the effect was dramatic. Images flooded his mind. Star charts showing regions of space he had never seen, technological schematics beyond human understanding, and something else. Faces. Alien faces, but not like any species in the current galactic consortium. These beings looked ancient, their eyes holding depths of knowledge that spoke of civilizations long lost. The visions lasted only moments, but they left Marcus profoundly changed. For the first time in years, he felt something other than resignation. The crystal represented a connection to something greater than the corporate drudgery that defined his existence. It suggested possibilities beyond the narrow confines of human servitude in alien-dominated space. Over the following days, Marcus continued his mining routine while secretly studying the crystal. Each contact revealed new information, building a picture of a civilization that had existed before the current galactic powers rose to dominance. These ancient beings had possessed technology that made current consortium achievements look primitive by comparison. More importantly, the visions suggested that this lost civilization had particular respect for the qualities that humans brought to the galaxy. Where current alien species saw humans as useful but inferior creatures, these ancients had recognized potential that remained undeveloped. The crystal seemed to be some kind of test or key designed to identify beings worthy of greater knowledge. Marcus began to understand that his years of isolation had been preparation for this moment. His silence had preserved him from the corrupting influences that destroyed other humans in alien service. His solitary expertise had developed skills that conventional miners lacked. His disregard for personal safety had led him to places where others feared to venture. The crystal was changing him, but the transformation was subtle. His already exceptional mining instincts became supernatural in their accuracy. He could sense valuable deposits across vast distances, navigate through hazardous conditions with impossible precision, and operate failing equipment far beyond its design limitations. Other miners began to notice these improvements, though they attributed them to luck rather than alien technology. Marcus knew he was approaching a decision point. The crystal's revelations suggested responsibilities that extended far beyond simple survival. He was being offered knowledge that could change humanity's position in the galaxy, but accepting that knowledge would mean abandoning the safe isolation he had cultivated for years. The choice would define not only his own future, but potentially the fate of his entire species. In the cold silence of space, surrounded by beings who considered humans barely worthy of notice, Marcus Chun prepared to discover whether humanity was ready to claim its true place among the stars. The crystalline artifact pulsed with patient light, waiting for his decision. In its depths lay secrets that could transform the human condition from one of servitude to one of significance. But transformation always carried risks, and some changes could never be undone. Marcus closed his eyes and reached for the crystal, ready to discover what price the universe demanded for evolution. The transformation began during Marcus's sleep cycle, when conscious resistance was lowest. The crystal, now permanently mounted in a housing he had crafted from salvaged hull plating, pulsed with increasing frequency as it interfaced with his nervous system. Dreams became something far more substantial than mere neural processing of daily experiences. Marcus found himself standing in vast chambers filled with beings whose presence radiated ancient wisdom. These were the architects the crystal revealed, a civilization that had seeded the galaxy with potential long before current species had achieved spaceflight. They had been watchers and guides shepherding younger races toward technological and philosophical maturity. The architect who addressed him stood nearly 3 meters tall, with features that seemed to shift between familiar and alien, depending on the viewing angle. Its voice reached Marcus not through sound, but through direct neural contact, speaking in concepts that transcended language barriers. Human designate Marcus Chun. The architect's mental voice carried overtones of evaluation. You have been selected for assessment based on demonstrated capabilities and psychological profile. Your species approaches a critical juncture in galactic development. The choices made in the coming cycles will determine whether humanity achieves true membership in cosmic civilization or remains trapped in servitude. The chamber around them displayed holographic star maps showing the current galactic political structure. The Galactic Mining Consortium was revealed as merely one element in a complex web of alliances and dependencies that kept newer species in subordinate positions. Humans, despite their remarkable adaptability and problem-solving abilities, have been systematically relegated to dangerous manual labor roles. The current dominant species fear human potential, the architect explained. Your adaptability exceeds their own. Your innovation threatens their technological advantages, and your social structures demonstrate resilience that their rigid hierarchies lack. Rather than compete directly, they have chosen to limit human development through economic and social control. Marcus absorbed this information with growing understanding. His years of observation on Kepler-7 had shown him the systematic nature of human disadvantage, but he had attributed it to simple prejudice rather than calculated suppression. The architect's revelations suggested something far more deliberate and comprehensive. You have been chosen to carry knowledge that will enable human advancement, the architect continued. But this knowledge comes with responsibilities. You must prove worthy not only through individual capability, but through your species' collective readiness to use power wisely. The dream chamber shifted, showing Marcus scenes from human history. The development of agriculture, the Industrial Revolution, the expansion into space. In each case, technological advancement had been accompanied by social upheaval and ethical challenges. The architect's message was clear. Power without wisdom led to destruction. Your test begins with personal transformation, the architect explained. The crystalline interface will enhance your natural abilities while providing access to archived knowledge. Success depends on maintaining your essential humanity while integrating capabilities that will seem impossible by current standards. When Marcus woke, the changes were immediately apparent. His visual acuity had increased dramatically, allowing him to perceive electromagnetic spectrums that human eyes normally couldn't detect. His spatial awareness had expanded, giving him intuitive understanding of three-dimensional relationships across vast distances. Most significantly, his mental processing speed had accelerated, allowing complex calculations that would normally require computer assistance. The first practical test came during his morning extraction run. Marcus approached an asteroid cluster that had defeated several previous mining attempts. The gravitational interactions between multiple massive objects created chaotic force fields that made conventional approach vectors impossible. Previous miners had attempted to use computer modeling to find safe paths, but the system's complexity exceeded their computational capabilities. Marcus saw the solution immediately. The gravitational fields created a constantly shifting pattern, but the pattern had underlying rhythms that could be predicted. By timing his approach to match these rhythms, he could use the gravitational forces to accelerate rather than impede his movement. His enhanced reflexes allowed him to make split-second adjustments that kept his shuttle in the narrow, safe zones between crushing forces. The extraction itself required techniques that no textbook had ever described. Marcus used precise gravitational calculations to fracture asteroids along internal stress lines, creating controlled collapses that exposed valuable materials without damaging them. He employed electromagnetic field manipulation to separate pure metals from surrounding rock, achieving refinement levels that normally required expensive processing facilities. Other miners watching from safe distances reported impossible maneuvers. They saw Marcus's shuttle dancing through gravitational fields that should have torn it apart, performing extractions that violated basic physics as they understood it. Their reports to Station Command were dismissed as exaggeration or equipment malfunction. Marcus completed the extraction run with cargo holds full of refined materials worth more than the station typically processed in a month. His success was so dramatic that it could not be ignored, but explaining it required acknowledging capabilities that challenged fundamental assumptions about human limitations. Station Commander HFY, a Zelen bureaucrat with 40 years of mining administration experience, reviewed the extraction reports with growing bewilderment. The readings indicated impossible efficiency levels and safety margins that defied explanation. Either the monitoring equipment was malfunctioning on an unprecedented scale, or the human miner designated Marcus Chun had somehow transcended normal operational parameters. HFY had built his career on maintaining predictable productivity levels within acceptable risk tolerances. Anomalies like this threatened the careful balance of expectations and quotas that kept the consortium's operations profitable. Exceptional performance was as dangerous as exceptional failure when it disrupted established patterns. The commander called for a direct interview, the first time in 3 years that Marcus had been summoned to administrative levels of the station. The meeting took place in HFY's private office, a space designed to intimidate with its display of consortium authority symbols and achievement awards. Marcus entered silently, maintaining the uncommunicative persona he had cultivated for years. His enhanced awareness immediately cataloged everything in the room. The hidden recording devices, the stress indicators in the commander's posture, the defensive arrangement of furniture designed to maintain psychological distance. Human miner Chun, HFY began, consulting data displays with obvious confusion. Your recent productivity increases require explanation. Consortium protocols mandate investigation of performance anomalies that exceed expected parameters by significant margins. Marcus remained silent, knowing that any explanation would invite deeper scrutiny. His enhanced mental capabilities allowed him to predict the likely consequences of various responses, but all paths led to dangerous exposure of his transformation. Your extraction efficiency has increased by 400% over previous periods, HFY continued. Your safety margins exceed recommended parameters by factors that our engineering staff considers impossible. You are operating equipment beyond its design specifications while achieving results that require technology we do not possess. The commander's frustration was evident in his shifting posture and vocal stress patterns. He had expected explanations that would fit within existing frameworks. Equipment modifications, undisclosed technical knowledge, or assistance from other sources. Marcus's silence provided no convenient categories for filing the anomaly. "Speak," Vex-High commanded, using the tone of absolute authority that consortium officials employed with subordinate species. "Explain your methods or face immediate termination of employment and detention pending investigation." Marcus calculated the probability that termination would lead to discovery of the crystal. Station security protocols included thorough searches of departing personnel, and the crystal's energy signature might be detected by examination equipment. Continued silence was becoming as dangerous as revelation. For the first time in 3 years, Marcus spoke. "I read the rocks," he said, his voice rusty from disuse, but carrying undertones of certainty that made the commander lean forward. "Gravitational patterns, electromagnetic signatures, structural stress indicators. I learned to see what the scanners miss." It was not entirely a lie, though it omitted the supernatural enhancement that made such perception possible. Marcus had indeed developed these skills through years of dangerous mining, though the crystal had amplified them beyond human norms. Vex-High studied the human with renewed interest. The explanation was plausible enough to avoid immediate investigation while explaining the impossible results. It also suggested capabilities that could be valuable to consortium operations if properly controlled. "Demonstrate," the commander ordered. "Tomorrow you will conduct extraction operations under direct observation. Consortium engineering staff will monitor all procedures and document all techniques. If your methods prove genuine, you will train other miners in their application." Marcus recognized the trap immediately. Close observation would reveal capabilities that no training could duplicate. Teaching other humans would expose the supernatural nature of his abilities. He needed a strategy that would satisfy consortium curiosity while protecting his true capabilities. "I work alone," Marcus replied. "Others slow me down, create distractions. My methods require full concentration, complete environmental awareness. Observers interfere with perception sensitivity." It was another partial truth. His enhanced abilities did work better in isolation, though not for the reasons he suggested. The crystal's interface was most effective when external mental influences were minimal. Vex-High considered this response. Exceptional miners often developed eccentric working preferences, and productivity was more important than conformity to standard procedures. If this human could maintain impossible efficiency levels, accommodation of his preferences was a reasonable trade-off. "Acceptable," the commander decided. "Remote monitoring only. But you will document your techniques in detailed reports. Consortium scientists will analyze your methods for application to broader operations." Marcus nodded agreement, knowing he could craft reports that described conventional techniques while omitting the supernatural enhancements. His enhanced mental capabilities would allow him to construct explanations that satisfied scientific inquiry while concealing the true source of his abilities. The meeting concluded with Marcus returning to his quarters under careful observation. Station security protocols had been quietly activated, monitoring his movements and communications for signs of external assistance or hidden technology. The consortium was determined to understand and exploit whatever advantages the human had developed. That night, as Marcus held the crystal and felt its power flowing through his enhanced nervous system, he realized his period of safe anonymity was ending. The architects had warned him that demonstrating capabilities would bring attention, but advancement required taking calculated risks. The next phase of his test was beginning. He would need to prove that humanity could handle greater responsibilities while maintaining the wisdom to use power constructively. The alternative was continued servitude, with his own abilities eventually seized and exploited by species that saw humans as useful tools rather than potential equals. In the depths of space, surrounded by those who would suppress his species' potential, Marcus Chun prepared to take the first steps toward changing humanity's destiny. The crystal pulsed with patient light, ready to guide him through challenges that would determine the future of his entire race. The transformation was accelerating, and there would be no turning back. The demonstration extraction was scheduled for 0800, with remote monitoring teams positioned throughout the asteroid field. Marcus had spent the night preparing equipment and reviewing possible scenarios, knowing that this performance would determine his future freedom of operation. The consortium's monitoring systems would record every movement, every decision, every technique he employed. Commander Vexhai established a command post aboard the station's primary observation vessel, surrounded by specialists from multiple disciplines. Mining engineers, xenobiologists, and system analysts crowded the monitoring stations, all eager to understand how a single human had achieved impossible results. Dr. Kithura, the station's chief xenobiologist, had particular interest in the demonstration. Her research focused on species-specific capabilities and their optimization for industrial applications. She had published papers arguing that human adaptability was being underutilized by current assignment protocols. Marcus's recent performance supported her theories, potentially validating years of research. Subject is approaching target asteroid designated TX 9947, reported the lead monitoring technician. Gravitational field complexity indicates extreme extraction difficulty. Previous attempts by mechanized systems resulted in total mission failure. The asteroid in question was a nightmare of conflicting forces. 3 separate gravitational sources created an unstable field that shifted constantly. Electromagnetic storms from a nearby pulsar interfered with navigation systems. The asteroid's composition included unstable isotopes that could detonate if disturbed incorrectly. Marcus's shuttle entered the danger zone with movements that defied standard piloting doctrine. Instead of fighting the gravitational forces, he used them, riding the energy currents like a surfer navigating breaking waves. His path seemed reckless to observers, but each maneuver was precisely calculated to take advantage of force vectors that conventional navigation systems couldn't detect. Impossible flight patterns, muttered Chief Engineer Gorvok, a Vorthack technical specialist with decades of asteroid mining experience. He's flying through gravitational shears that would tear most ships apart. Either his equipment has been extensively modified, or he's using principles that contradict our understanding of space navigation. The extraction process began with Marcus deploying seismic charges around the asteroid's perimeter. But instead of using standard blast patterns, he created a complex sequence timed to harmonize with the asteroid's natural resonance frequency. The resulting vibrations revealed internal structure with unprecedented clarity. Dr. Kethera leaned forward, studying the seismic readings with growing excitement. He's reading the asteroid's internal composition through gravitational echo analysis. That's a theoretical technique we've never seen practically implemented. The computational requirements should exceed any individual's processing capabilities. Marcus's enhanced perception allowed him to visualize the asteroid's internal structure as clearly as if it were transparent. Veins of valuable metals appeared as distinct patterns of density and electromagnetic signature. Stress fractures showed as weak points where precise applications of force could separate materials without damaging their crystalline structures. The actual extraction proceeded with surgical precision. Marcus used shaped charges to crack the asteroid along carefully calculated lines, creating controlled breaks that exposed high-value deposits while maintaining structural integrity. Each explosion was positioned to take advantage of gravitational forces, using the asteroid's rotation to assist rather than hinder the separation process. Extraction efficiency approaching theoretical maximums, reported the monitoring technician. Waste material less than 2% of total mass. Purity levels exceeding 97%. These results are impossible without technology we don't possess. Commander Vexhai studied the data with growing concern. The human's performance was so far beyond normal parameters that it suggested either massive equipment upgrades or capabilities that couldn't be explained within current understanding. Either possibility had significant implications for consortium operations. The final phase of extraction demonstrated abilities that left the monitoring team speechless. Marcus used gravitational field manipulation to sort extracted materials by density and composition, creating separate collection streams for different metal types. The process required real-time adjustment of his shuttle's position to maintain optimal field alignments. That's gravitic manipulation, breathed Dr. Kethera. He's using localized gravitational fields as sorting mechanisms. That technology exists only in theoretical papers. Implementation would require computational systems that don't exist outside major research facilities. Marcus completed the extraction with cargo holds containing the highest purity materials ever recovered from such a complex gravitational environment. His total extraction time was 40% less than previous attempts, while his safety margins remained within acceptable parameters throughout the operation. As he returned to the station, Marcus knew the demonstration had been too successful. He had proven his capabilities beyond doubt, but in doing so, he had raised questions that would demand answers. The consortium now knew that unprecedented abilities existed, and they would not rest until they understood and controlled them. The debriefing session took place in the station's primary conference facility, with senior staff from multiple departments participating via subspace communication. Marcus found himself facing a panel of experts whose combined experience represented centuries of mining operations throughout the galaxy. Human Miner Chun, Commander Vexai began, your demonstration has exceeded all projected parameters. The techniques you displayed suggest technological capabilities that our records indicate should not be available to individual operators. Explain the source of these enhancements. Marcus had prepared for this question, crafting responses that would satisfy curiosity while concealing the crystal's influence. His enhanced mental capabilities allowed him to construct explanations that were technically accurate while fundamentally misleading. Years of experience, Marcus replied, maintaining the laconic speech pattern he had established. Learned to read gravitational patterns, electromagnetic fluctuations, material stress indicators. Developed intuitive understanding of asteroid behavior. No special equipment, just enhanced observation skills. Dr. Kethera interrupted with technical questions that demonstrated her deep understanding of extraction procedures. The gravitational manipulation techniques you demonstrated require precise calculations that exceed human neural processing capabilities. How do you perform these computations in real time? Feel more than calculate, Marcus answered. Gravitational forces have rhythms, patterns. Learn to sense them directly rather than analyze them mathematically. Experience replaces computation. It was a plausible explanation for beings who understood that exceptional skill could sometimes transcend technological limitations. But the technical staff remained skeptical, knowing the human neural architecture had specific processing constraints that couldn't be overcome through experience alone. Chief Engineer Gorvok posed questions about equipment modifications. Your shuttle performed maneuvers that should have exceeded its structural tolerances. Standard human vessels lack the power systems and control surfaces necessary for precision gravitational navigation. What modifications have you implemented? Marcus had anticipated this line of inquiry. His enhanced abilities allowed him to operate standard equipment beyond its normal parameters, but explaining this required careful misdirection. Maintenance improvements, he replied. Learn to optimize power distribution. Calibrate control systems for maximum sensitivity. Standard equipment. Enhanced tuning. No será modifications. The explanation satisfied regulatory concerns while avoiding details that would reveal supernatural capabilities. Marcus's maintenance records showed extensive system optimizations that could theoretically account for improved performance. The questioning continued for hours, with experts from various fields probing different aspects of Marcus's abilities. Each query was met with responses that provided plausible technical explanations while concealing the true source of his capabilities. Finally, Commander Vexai reached his conclusion. Your techniques represent valuable innovations that could significantly improve consortium extraction operations. You will be assigned to train selected personnel in your methodologies. Training protocols will be developed based on your documented procedures. Marcus recognized the new trap immediately. Training sessions would require close collaboration with other miners, making it impossible to conceal his supernatural abilities. Student miners would quickly realize that his techniques couldn't be replicated through conventional means. Training others will reduce my own productivity, Marcus objected. Time spent on instruction means less time on extraction. My methods require full concentration, individual adaptation. Cannot be taught through standard educational protocols. Dr. Kethera saw opportunity in this resistance. We propose a compromise. Continue your extraction operations under enhanced monitoring. Document your decision-making processes in detailed logs. Provide technical consultations on complex extraction scenarios. This approach maintains your productivity while sharing your expertise. The proposal was acceptable to Marcus, offering a path that would satisfy consortium requirements while preserving his operational freedom. Enhanced monitoring was inevitable, but he could manage information flow through careful documentation practices. Acceptable arrangement, Marcus agreed. We'll provide consultation services as requested. Documentation protocols must accommodate operational security requirements. The meeting concluded with assignments that would fundamentally change Marcus's role on the station. Instead of anonymous isolation, he would become a visible asset in consortium operations. The transformation carried both opportunities and risks that would test his ability to maintain his secret while advancing human interests. That night, alone with the crystal, Marcus contemplated the accelerating pace of change. The architects had warned him that advancement required accepting greater visibility and responsibility. Each successful demonstration would bring increased attention, making concealment more difficult while creating opportunities for broader influence. The crystal's communications became more frequent and detailed as Marcus proved his readiness for greater knowledge. He learned about human potential that had been suppressed by systematic exclusion from advanced technologies. He discovered that human neural architecture possessed unique qualities that made them ideal candidates for certain types of enhanced capabilities. Most importantly, he began to understand that he was not unique. Throughout human space, individuals were being selected for similar enhancement processes. The architects were preparing humanity for a transformation that would challenge the galaxy's existing power structures. The test was expanding beyond individual capability to collective readiness. Marcus's role was to demonstrate human potential while building foundations for broader advancement. Success would open pathways for his entire species to claim their rightful place in galactic civilization. But the alien powers that controlled the galaxy would not surrender their advantages willingly. As human capabilities became apparent, resistance would intensify. Marcus was becoming a focal point for conflicts that could determine the future of interspecies relations throughout known space. The crystal pulsed with encouraging energy, reminding him that he was not alone in this struggle. Across the galaxy, other humans were discovering their own enhancement opportunities, building a network of capabilities that would soon challenge the assumptions that kept humanity in servitude. The transformation was accelerating, and the time for hiding was ending. Marcus Chun was about to discover whether his species was ready to claim the destiny that the architects had always intended for them. 3 weeks after the demonstration, the first assassination attempt came during a routine extraction run in the outer asteroid belt. Marcus detected the trap through enhanced spatial awareness that warned him of weapons signatures hidden among the debris. A Krex hunter-killer team had positioned themselves along his expected return route, using stealth technology that would have been invisible to conventional detection systems. The attackers had underestimated human capabilities enhanced by architect technology. Marcus perceived their electromagnetic emissions as clearly as visible light, reading the energy patterns of their weapons systems and calculating optimal evasion vectors before they could achieve targeting locks. His shuttle danced through their ambush pattern with movements that seemed to violate physics, avoiding destruction by margins measured in centimeters. But The message was clear. Marcus's growing prominence had attracted hostile attention from species that viewed enhanced human capabilities as threats to established galactic hierarchies. The Kreks were known for their mercenary services, suggesting that more powerful interests were moving against him. Marcus eliminated the threat with precision that shocked even himself. His enhanced reflexes allowed him to target critical systems on enemy vessels with mining tools improvised as weapons. Gravitational manipulation techniques originally developed for asteroid extraction became devastating offensive capabilities when applied to hostile spacecraft. The attack left 3 Kreks vessels disabled and drifting, their crews alive but helpless in the depths of space. Marcus transmitted emergency beacons that would ensure their eventual rescue while documenting evidence of their assassination attempt. The incident would trigger official investigations, but more importantly, it announced that human enhancement came with defensive capabilities. News of the confrontation spread quickly through the station's informal communication networks. Other species had witnessed the impossible. A single human and outdated equipment had defeated professional Kreks hunters using techniques that defied conventional understanding. The implications were profound and disturbing for those accustomed to human subordination. Commander Vexhai found himself facing pressure from multiple directions. Corporate headquarters demanded explanations for the security breach that had allowed assassins into consortium space. Security specialists questioned how a human miner had acquired combat capabilities that exceeded military standards. Most concerning, other alien workers were beginning to show signs of unrest as assumptions about human limitations were challenged. Dr. Kethera used the incident to advance her research agenda. The combat effectiveness Marcus demonstrated proves that human potential has been systematically underestimated, she argued in reports to the Consortium Science Council. His spatial awareness, reflexive responses, and tactical analysis exceeded our databases for all known species. This suggests enhancement opportunities that could revolutionize our understanding of biological capabilities. Her enthusiasm was not shared by all colleagues. Dr. Zintho K., a Zelan xenobiologist with decades of interspecies research experience, warned against the implications of human enhancement. Rapid capability increases in subordinate species have historically preceded major social disruptions, he noted in counter-reports. The balance of interspecies relations depends on predictable capability hierarchies. Unpredictable enhancement threatens stability throughout the galactic community. The debate reached the highest levels of consortium management, where board members representing different alien species argued over appropriate responses to the human situation. Some advocated for immediate integration of enhanced humans into advanced operational roles. Others pushed for restrictions that would prevent further capability development. Marcus remained largely unaware of these high-level discussions, focused instead on the accelerating communications from his architect contacts. The crystal transmissions had evolved beyond simple knowledge transfer to complex strategic guidance. He was learning that the assassination attempt was merely the first of many challenges designed to test human readiness for greater responsibilities. The resistance you encounter reflects fear rather than genuine hostility, the architect explained during one of their neural contact sessions. Current galactic powers achieve dominance through technological advantages that human enhancement threatens to neutralize. Their responses will escalate as they recognize the implications of your species' true potential. Marcus absorbed lessons in interspecies psychology that revealed the complex motivations driving galactic politics. The Zelan had maintained supremacy through computational technologies that enhanced their natural analytical capabilities. The Vorthack dominated through engineering skills that produced superior military systems. The Kreks had carved out mercenary roles by specializing in combat applications of their natural predatory instincts. Human adaptability represented a threat to all these specialized advantages. Enhanced humans could match or exceed alien capabilities across multiple disciplines, potentially disrupting the careful balance of power that maintained current hierarchies. The assassination attempt had been motivated by recognition of this threat rather than simple prejudice. Your response to the attack demonstrated both capability and restraint, the architect continued. Destroying the attackers would have provoked massive retaliation. Disabling them while preserving life showed wisdom that justifies further enhancement opportunities. The next phase of Marcus's development involved expanded awareness that extended beyond physical enhancement to sophisticated understanding of galactic social dynamics. He began to perceive the subtle power relationships that controlled interspecies interactions, recognizing opportunities for advancement that could benefit all humanity. His mining operations became platforms for demonstrating human potential in ways that built respect rather than fear. Marcus began taking risks that showcased human courage and ingenuity while solving problems that other species considered impossible. Each success challenged assumptions about human limitations while proving that enhancement led to constructive rather than destructive outcomes. The strategy worked, but it also attracted attention from unexpected sources. Captain Tetrisisura, commander of the Talarian research vessel Scientific Endeavor, requested permission to conduct detailed studies of human enhancement phenomena. Her ship had been monitoring Kepler-7 activities since the assassination attempt, gathering data on capabilities that challenge Talarian scientific models. Your performance parameters suggest biological enhancements that exceed theoretical possibilities, Captain Tetrisisura explained during a subspace communication with Marcus. Talarian science has studied enhancement technologies for centuries without achieving the capabilities you demonstrate. We request cooperation in research that could benefit multiple species. Marcus recognized opportunity in the Talarian approach. Unlike other alien species that viewed human enhancement as threatening, the Talarians saw scientific possibilities that could advance their own understanding. Cooperation could provide protection from hostile forces while building alliances that would support human advancement. The research collaboration began with detailed biological scans that revealed the extent of Marcus's transformation. Talarian medical technology detected neural modifications that enhanced cognitive processing by orders of magnitude. Muscular and skeletal improvements provided strength and coordination that approached theoretical maximums for human physiology. Most remarkably, his nervous system showed adaptations that allowed direct interface with advanced technologies. Dr. Tetrisisura published preliminary findings that revolutionized scientific understanding of enhancement possibilities. Human neural architecture possesses unique plasticity that enables modifications impossible in other species, her reports concluded. These adaptations suggest evolutionary pathways that could transform our understanding of biological development. The scientific community's response was immediate and intense. Research institutions throughout the galaxy requested access to human subjects for enhancement studies. Corporate interests saw commercial applications that could generate enormous profits. Military organizations recognized capabilities that could shift the balance of galactic power. Marcus found himself at the center of forces that extended far beyond simple mining operations. His transformation had become a catalyst for changes that would affect every species in known space. The responsibilities were overwhelming, but the architect's guidance provided perspectives that helped him navigate increasingly complex situations. The attention you have attracted serves larger purposes, the architect explained. Human enhancement cannot remain secret indefinitely. Better to reveal capabilities gradually while building alliances that will support your species' advancement. The Talarians offer scientific credibility that will legitimize human enhancement in academic communities. The collaboration with Talarian researchers provided Marcus with opportunities to study alien enhancement technologies while sharing selected aspects of his own capabilities. He learned that the architects had influenced multiple species throughout galactic history, providing guidance that accelerated development along beneficial pathways. Most species had achieved enhancement through technological augmentation that replaced biological capabilities with artificial systems. Humans were unique in their ability to integrate enhancements that amplified natural abilities rather than replacing them. This difference gave them advantages that purely technological approaches couldn't match. The research revealed that Marcus's neural modifications could interface with almost any technology, regardless of its original design specifications. Talarian computers responded to his mental commands. Vorthack engineering systems operated beyond their design parameters under his control. Even Krek's weapons systems could be reprogrammed through direct neural contact. These capabilities suggested possibilities that extended far beyond individual enhancement. Human neural architecture could serve as universal interfaces that bridged technological gaps between different species. Enhanced humans could become facilitators for interspecies cooperation in ways that no other biological modifications had achieved. Dr. Kaiser's enthusiasm for these discoveries was tempered by awareness of their implications. The capabilities you demonstrate could transform galactic civilization, she warned Marcus during one of their research sessions. But transformation always creates resistance from those who benefit from existing systems. You will face challenges that test not only your abilities, but your wisdom in applying them. The warning proved prophetic when the second assassination attempt came from an unexpected source. A human security officer named Jackson Torres, corrupted by alien interests that promised him advancement in exchange for eliminating Marcus, used his access privileges to plant explosives in Marcus's quarters. The betrayal was more devastating than the physical threat. Marcus had assumed that his enhancement served all human interests, but Torres represented humans who had found accommodation within alien power structures and viewed change as threatening to their positions. Marcus detected the explosive devices through enhanced electromagnetic sensing, but the discovery forced him to confront uncomfortable truths about human nature. Enhancement opportunities created divisions as well as advantages, potentially splitting humanity between those who embraced change and those who preferred familiar limitations. The crystal's guidance became crucial as Marcus navigated these moral complexities. The architects had experienced similar challenges when they underwent their own transformation millennia earlier. Their civilization had survived through wisdom that balanced individual advancement with collective benefit. Evolution always creates divisions, the architect explained. Those who fear change will resist, even when change benefits them. Your responsibility is to prove that enhancement serves justice rather than personal ambition. Success depends on demonstrating that power serves wisdom rather than dominating it. Marcus realized that his test was evolving beyond individual capability to leadership of human transformation. He was being prepared not just to demonstrate human potential, but to guide his species through changes that would redefine their place in galactic civilization. The challenge was immense, but so was the opportunity. Humanity stood on the threshold of advancement that could free them from servitude forever. Success would require wisdom, courage, and sacrifices that would test every aspect of human character. The crystal pulsed with patient energy, reminding Marcus that he was not alone in this struggle. Throughout human space, others were discovering their own paths to enhancement, building a network of capabilities that would soon challenge the galaxy's assumptions about human limitations. The transformation was accelerating, and the time for hiding was nearly over. The revelation came during what should have been a routine diplomatic meeting. Ambassador Krell Van of the Hegemony Council had arrived at Kepler 7 with a fleet of warships, ostensibly to investigate the security breaches that had allowed assassination attempts on consortium property. But Marcus's enhanced perception detected deception in the ambassador's biorhythms and realized the true purpose was far more sinister. The hegemony represented the galaxy's oldest and most powerful alliance, comprising species that had dominated interstellar civilization for thousands of years. They had maintained supremacy through careful management of technological advancement among younger races, ensuring that no species could challenge their collective authority. Marcus's enhancement represented an existential threat to this system. The abilities he demonstrated suggested that humans could transcend the limitations that kept them subordinate. If enhancement spread throughout the human population, the balance of galactic power could shift dramatically. Ambassador Krellvan's solution was direct and brutal. Complete sterilization of human enhancement capabilities through targeted bioweapons that would eliminate anyone showing signs of architect modification. The fleet carried weapons specifically designed to target the neural modifications that enabled enhanced performance. The attack began during the diplomatic reception, when security scanners allegedly detecting dangerous anomalies triggered station-wide lockdown procedures. But Marcus's enhanced awareness revealed the truth. The scanners were targeting enhanced humans specifically, preparing them for elimination. Dr. Kethera was among the first to recognize the betrayal. Her research on human enhancement had made her a target along with her human subjects. As hegemony security forces moved through the station, she transmitted urgent warnings to all personnel while preparing defensive measures. This is not random violence, she broadcast on emergency channels. The hegemony is implementing systematic elimination of enhancement research. All enhanced individuals and their supporters are being targeted for termination. This is genocide disguised as security operations. Marcus found himself facing impossible odds. Hegemony forces outnumbered potential defenders by overwhelming margins, and their weapons were specifically designed to neutralize enhanced abilities. Conventional resistance would result in complete destruction of everyone he had come to protect. Instead, Marcus chose revelation. For the first time since finding the crystal, he allowed his abilities to manifest at full power. The transformation was spectacular and terrifying. Energy fields visible to all species surrounded his form. His movements transcended physical limitations, allowing him to appear in multiple locations simultaneously. His voice carried harmonics that reached directly into the neural centers of all nearby beings. "I am Marcus Chun," he announced, his words reaching every corner of the station through means that bypass communication systems entirely. "I am human. I am enhanced. I am what your species fear most. Proof that you are not our superiors." The demonstration shattered assumptions that had governed interspecies relations for millennia. Other species had always maintained psychological superiority through the belief that humans were inherently inferior. Marcus's display proved that human potential had merely been suppressed, not absent. Hegemony forces responded with weapons designed to disrupt neural enhancement, but their technology proved inadequate against architect modifications. Marcus moved through their attacks like wine through a forest, untouchable and unstoppable. His retaliation was precisely calibrated to disable rather than destroy, demonstrating power restrained by wisdom. The battle became a teaching moment rather than simple violence. Marcus used each engagement to showcase human capabilities while proving that enhancement led to protection of life rather than its destruction. He saved hegemony soldiers from their own weapons malfunctions, rescued civilians from collateral damage, and treated wounded enemies with the same care as allies. Ambassador Krellvan watched his carefully planned operation dissolve into chaos as Marcus systematically dismantled hegemony advantages. The weapons failed, the tactics proved inadequate, and, most importantly, the moral authority that justified their actions crumbled under the reality of Marcus's restraint. "You claim to eliminate dangerous enhancement." Marcus addressed the ambassador directly, his enhanced voice carrying absolute certainty. "But your definition of danger is power that you cannot control. You fear human advancement because it threatens your dominance, not because it threatens anyone's safety." The confrontation reached its climax when the hegemony fleet prepared to destroy the entire station rather than allow human enhancement to continue. Their orbital bombardment systems could eliminate all evidence of the enhancement program, along with everyone aboard Kepler-7. Marcus's response revealed capabilities that went beyond individual enhancement to cosmic manipulation. The crystal's power, fully channeled through his transformed nervous system, allowed him to interface with the station's gravitational systems and the surrounding asteroid field's natural forces. The bombardment never reached its target. Marcus redirected the incoming energy through gravitational lenses that turned destructive force into harmless light displays. Asteroid fragments became defensive shields that absorbed weapon impacts without damage to the station. The hegemony fleet found itself outmaneuvered by forces they had never imagined possible. But Marcus's most devastating weapon was not power, but truth. His enhanced abilities allowed him to access the hegemony's own historical records, revealing the systematic suppression of multiple species throughout galactic history. The evidence showed a pattern of manufactured limitations that kept potentially competitive civilizations in permanent subordination. "You have done this before." Marcus broadcast the historical data throughout the galaxy. The Altarian Confederation showed enhancement potential 3,000 years ago. You eliminated them through engineered plagues. The Centauri Republic developed neural augmentation 4 centuries ago. You destroyed their research through economic warfare. Dozens of species have approached their full potential. You have suppressed them all. The revelation shattered the moral foundation of hegemony authority. Species throughout the galaxy discovered that their limitations were artificial, imposed by allies they had trusted for millennia. The careful balance of interspecies relations collapsed as the truth of systematic manipulation became undeniable. Ambassador Krellvan faced a choice between escalating the conflict or acknowledging defeat. Further violence would confirm the accusations against the hegemony while demonstrating their willingness to commit genocide to maintain power. Withdrawal would admit the legitimacy of human enhancement while encouraging other species to pursue their own advancement. Marcus offered a third alternative that revealed the wisdom the architect had sought to develop in him. Cooperation, he proposed, his enhanced voice carrying harmonics that reached the deepest levels of psychological awareness in all who heard it. The galaxy has room for all species to reach their potential. Enhancement does not require domination. Competition does not require destruction. We can build civilization that celebrates capability rather than fearing it. The proposal was revolutionary in its implications. For thousands of years, galactic politics have been based on zero-sum competition where one species' advancement required another's limitation. Marcus suggested possibilities for mutual advancement that could benefit everyone. Dr. HFY was among the first to embrace these possibilities. Talarian research has always been limited by political constraints that prevented full exploration of enhancement potential, she announced. Cooperation with enhanced humans could accelerate development in ways that serve all species rather than threatening them. Other voices joined the growing chorus of support. Species throughout the galaxy began demanding access to enhancement technologies that had been suppressed by hegemony control. The old order was crumbling, replaced by aspirations that had been dormant for centuries. Ambassador Krellvan realized that resistance was futile. The truth had been revealed, and attempt to suppress it would only strengthen human positions while weakening hegemony credibility. His only option was negotiation from a position of demonstrated inferiority. The peace talks that followed redefined galactic civilization. Marcus served as humanity's representative, but his enhanced abilities allowed him to speak for all species that had been suppressed by hegemony policies. The resulting agreements established frameworks for cooperative enhancement that would benefit everyone. The transformation was not without challenges. Some species chose isolation rather than adaptation. Others struggled with social disruptions as enhancement opportunities challenged established hierarchies. But the overall direction was toward advancement rather than stagnation. Marcus found himself in a position he had never sought, leader of a galactic transformation that was reshaping civilization itself. The responsibility was overwhelming, but the architect's guidance provided perspectives that helped him navigate the complex challenges of leadership. "Your test is complete," the architect announced during their final neural contact. You have proven that human enhancement serves wisdom rather than ambition. Your species has demonstrated readiness for the responsibilities that accompany true advancement. The crystal's power began to diminish as its purpose was fulfilled. Marcus would retain his enhanced abilities, but future development would depend on human effort rather than architect intervention. Humanity had graduated from student status to full membership in cosmic civilization. Years later, as enhanced humans worked alongside equally advanced alien partners throughout the galaxy, Marcus often reflected on the journey that had brought him from isolated miner to galactic leader. The silence that had once protected him had given way to communication that bridged species barriers. The isolation that had preserved his humanity had expanded to embrace responsibilities that served all consciousness. Standing on the observation deck of New Geneva Station, humanity's first major contribution to galactic architecture, Marcus watched ships from dozens of species arriving for the Enhancement Council's annual conference. Each vessel represented capabilities that had been suppressed for millennia, now free to develop according to their species' true potential. The young human technician who approached him carried reports from enhancement programs throughout human space. Thousands of individuals were discovering their own paths to advancement, building networks of capability that would ensure humanity's continued growth. Sir, the technician addressed Marcus with the respect accorded to those who had changed history. The latest reports show enhancement success rates exceeding 90%. We're ready to begin the next phase of development. Marcus nodded acknowledgement, then spoke the words that had become his signature throughout the galaxy. We are human. We are enhanced. We are what the universe intended us to become. In the depths of space, where ancient architect artifacts continued their patient work among species ready for advancement, the crystal that had started Marcus's transformation pulsed one final time before becoming dormant. Its work was complete. Humanity had found its voice among the stars. The silence had ended. The bonds were forged, and the galaxy would never be the same. Marcus Chun, once known only as Ghost to his fellow miners, had become the reaper of outdated limitations and the herald of humanity's true destiny among the infinite possibilities of cosmic civilization. The name would echo through galactic history as a reminder that even the quietest voices could reshape the universe when they finally chose to speak.